Hello and
So
welcome.
we say, I don't want to.
Welcome to the next episode of In the Garden. As you can see, night's starting to roll in, and we're sitting out on the back.
There's you. Yep.
I left Mark in charge of the video. I've lost track now.
You are waxing lyrical about knights and Shakespearean things.
Not quite, but anyway, that sounds really good. Yes, so anyway, so this fortnight we're going to start out in the rose garden. We had a visitor last week. It'll be 2.5, 3 weeks ago for the rest of you. They don't want to be on camera, so that's why they went on camera last fortnight. But anyway, they came and they gave us some advice on our roses. So we've done a bit of work, we'll do a bit of work in the garden. We've done a little bit as well already. We've got some more vegetables to go in. What else have we got to do in the garden? You wanted to mow some grass.
Yeah, compost.
Some composty stuff. We're going to go and have a look
Put
at
our
worms.
tulips out, maybe.
Yeah, tulips and daffodil bulbs. We'll have a look at the hyacinths and irises and see how they're progressing. There is a bit of movement in that area. Yeah, we've got a busy fortnight as always. But if you enjoy the channel, we keep moving around. I'm sorry. It's like,
Oh, it's an earthquake.
No, please. So anyway, like I was going to say, is if you enjoy our channel, please take a moment to to subscribe to the channel, share it on your socials because that's always a good thing. If you've got comments, please do. The couple of comments that we've had so far, you'll see we do respond. But there's a lot happening. So, okay.
Welcome to winter too.
Oh yeah, and welcome to winter because
Soon
today's
the winter solstice.
Today's the 3rd of June.
Yep. Yeah,
so we're
today
3
is
days into winter. So
Yep.
yay!
And we got the winter solstice coming up.
Yes, that we have.
Many pagan festivals to be adhered to.
Okay.
Planting by the moon. Very important.
Well, I'm glad you said that and not naked gardening.
That was in May.
And on that note, I'm going to say I'll see you in the garden.
Bye.
So it's a beautiful Friday morning. The sun is shining. Winston is out for a little walk. And it's just lovely. The mornings have actually been really cold lately. We've had a lot of frosts. Not heavy, very light, but enough to do damage. But overnight it was a little bit warmer, so very thankful. The birds are flying around, the sky is blue, and it's just beautiful. So another busy day today. Oh, that was a beautiful call. Just need to finish working on some of my university stuff. Nearly done for the semester, can't wait. So I'm going to have a couple of quiet weeks in between semesters, get my head back on my shoulders and get back into it. But yeah, looking forward to a couple of quiet weeks. There's Miss Kayla. She's having a wander around in the back area of the house block. And there goes another bird. There is just so much bird life here. It's lovely. Anyway, I'll go and I'll talk to you all again soon.
Well, I'm in the caravan and we keep in the caravan fridge our daff bulbs and our tulip bulbs. So we put them in there to chill them. Oh, was it March, April, winter, second week of May, June now. June, end of June. Well, beginning of June, second week June. So I knew what I was talking. So we chill them down before we plant them, and we've found that works really good. They can't be anywhere where there's other citrus apples or anything like that. So yeah, the little caravan fridge works a trick for them, and we're about to put them into some big pots. Okay, we got some baby tulip bulbs that we bred last year. Nicola's just sorting through the box. We're putting tulips in there. We've got some new ones this year as well. Yeah, we got some sad looking specimens of previous time. We've got a swag in the packet here. So some of these aren't real good either. These are the ones. So he was one we pulled out of the ground last year, and something had a fair old go at him. But we lifted them and dried them. We got some of the bigger ones already in the pot. And yeah, we're going to go pot again this year and see how we go, see if we can get the bulbs to develop. So now we're on to the daffodils. Last year we had, we got a tribe of daffodils, that little packet. So we had a crack of
He's broken.
Oh no!
No, that wasn't me.
We had a crack of a year with our daffs last year. And
started.
bulbs everywhere, so we've been breeding up our bulbs. The tulips are a lot more problematic as far as convincing them to breed up. Got a lot of little baby tulip bulbs, but we did lose quite a few. So I'm not sure what it was, but we did get some flowers, but yeah, it was quite tricky growing tulips in Kingaroo.
Right,
We've discovered.
This is indicative of the situation that we've got. Is they did so well, and as you can see, you've got two in this one and then one either side of it as well. I'm going to pull the two either side, but I won't touch the one in the middle
Got a bit of space
because he's
here
not
still.
actually ready to come off. But there you go.
There you go. No, so we're going to have more than our 2 pots for these because we had a great year. So some mixed up in here is jonquils, daffs, and dwarf daffies. So yeah, they're all mixed. Haven't separated them by colour or anything. So they're just a whole pile of daffodilians.
Okay, it's Saturday afternoon, and we've had a nap. And it's 3:30. We're finally starting. So got this pot today. Thank you, Mr. Pitt. And the rose is a fisherman's friend, and we've actually just put it into the pot, filled it with black marvel. So going to give it a water and set it up. It's actually going just outside my office in the front of the house. So we've got 3 more roses over here to go in. So we've got Soulmate, we've got Princess de Monaco, and I think the other one's Papa Mayland. So we've got a very pale peachy, an almost gold, and a bright red. And this one's a bright red as well. The other thing we did is we went to the markets this morning and we picked up, oh my gosh, a peach for Nathan and Charlotte's house. So one of the jobs we'll do this weekend as well is I'm going to move it into a bigger pot, so it's got more time to grow and get big and happy before it gets taken over to their new house and planted in the fullness of time.
Here lies dead roses, 'cause they're really not very gozers. They're deaded.
We've been rehabilitating the rose garden, and
Well, I'd hate to see the physical exercise for that rehabilitation. Just saying.
When our visitor last week, who declined to be on camera, was here, this person is an avid rose grower, and we actually took them for a walk around to have a look and see what was what. And I had been saying for some time that I was a little bit concerned about these roses, and so the person had a look and they went, yep, no, they got to go. So they're out.
Poor roses. I stuck up for you.
Well, we have actually gone through and replaced them. So
They did stick up for them.
Yes, you did. So what we've done, we've put a Soulmate, which is a standard here.
He was in the bucket before.
He was in the bucket before. The Princess de Monaco, which is actually the Princess Grace Rose.
I wonder, it sounds more like a demon, like something out of a video game.
Yeah.
De Monaco.
No.
No.
So that one is a shrub rose.
That one was,
We've actually planted, now they are looking a bit sad still. So we've got the Crepuscule in. We've got the Lady
funny,
X, which is sort of like a pale sort of purpley. We have got the hot pink iceberg over here. We've got a couple more that we're going to be doing some work on. This one is a matter of contention at the moment. What is going to happen to it? Not saying it will, not saying it won't.
You're in serious trouble. Yeah, just saying. Heard that term before.
Tomorrow this one's going into the ground. So this is the Albertine, and as you can see, you
Average.
saw me spray it. I've sprayed it now 2 or 3 times. The black spot is just a pain in the bum.
I've got to trim him up.
So he's actually going to lose everything on this side to ensure that he trains over to this side and over the arch. We've actually ordered another Albertine which will go right here, and we'll do the same thing with it. So we will cut it and train it so it goes over the archway. The Peter Brock, which is in need of some love, it's going out tomorrow. So today we've actually planted a Papa Mayland, which is a bright red. That's a standard. You saw the bridal pink the other week. We have...
Hasn't died yet.
Well, it shouldn't. The Litchfield Angel, which is also just covered in black spot, but it's going to get another...
He's almost dormant.
He's almost dormant, so he's ready to go in the ground tomorrow.
Oh, excuse me.
This one is actually on death row.
Mm-hmm.
He will come out and I will replace him with another shrub rose.
He's a bit ratty.
He's incredibly ratty, and that's part of the problem is, as you can see, if you look down the bottom, he's very caney, he's very brambly, so I could spend the next 3 years trying to trim him and get him back, but I think we've actually lost the argument with that one.
He's sharp too.
Yeah. This one we actually don't know what the standard is. There's actually no records. There's a lot of records, but actually we don't know what all the roses around the yard are. So this one here is going well. We will need to cut some of these little bits off. This piece here will come off because he's intersecting over the middle of the rose. So this piece will be cut off and we'll trim him up and get him ready once he's dormant. This one is pretty close to dead. He's in a bad way. This one here, actually, it gets a reasonable flush of flowers. But again, he's going to need a really good hard trim. So this will come off. All these intersecting pieces will come off and we'll open him up. So he'll get lots of air and he'll look much better next season. So what are we doing, Mr. Pett?
Digging holes.
So far we've already transplanted the Peter Brock. We have also transferred the Litchfield Angel. So now it's time for the Albertine to go in. So the Albertine is going right here on the edge of the garden bed so that we can train it up. And I actually have all the ties in my pocket. Okay, what are we doing here, Mr. Pett?
Washing our hands, that's good. You just put your 2 roses in.
So this is the Loving Memory is now in. This one is the Dearest in. And the Albertine. And so we've actually finished. So we've got pots. We've had to cut some of the honeysuckle. We've got more pots. The other thing we're doing right now is we're putting these little succulents in. They've really struggled over by the side of the house. And so we've brought them over and we're getting them in the ground. So we've got 1 in and we have 3 more to go. Now we don't know their names. So however, saying that, if you know, please let us know. But what we did discover are some little self-set lavenders. So we'll be protecting those, letting them get bigger, because lavenders are great for attracting the bugs and the bees, and they're our pollinators. So it's all good. Okay, so the honeysuckle. It's pretty wild and woolly, and as you can see, we haven't finished edging up with the garden stone. We're actually about to go and order another 2 cubic meters so we can finish this bed off. But what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to bring the hedge trimmer out, and I'm actually going to tidy it all up because it is very, very wild and woolly. I had to cut it back before we could start here. It had actually intruded all the way to the edge, and the same over here. So all of this will get a really good trim, and I'll probably have a look at how we continue training it over the top, because as you can see, it hasn't yet met up. But that's part of the problem that we've got is we need to keep this from narrowing. When we first got here, it literally was up to about here, we've beat it back a little bit. We won't be able to put any more weed mat down, basically because we've actually run out of that weed mat. But what we'll do is we'll rock along here and keep that under control, and the same on this side. As we've been tidying up, we've had a good look at this jasmine. I think what we're going to do is we're going to actually pull it out and we're going to pot it, give it a bit of time to re-establish itself because it is looking really sad, and then we're going to find a better spot for it. This does not seem to be the right area. It just is getting swamped, and frankly I could use a little bit more of this for either more roses or something. If I do that, I'll probably put climbing roses into this section here. And in case you didn't see it yesterday, that is the soulmate. It's a beautiful looking flower. And this one here, this is the Princess de Monaco. Pretty, pretty flowers. Some photos from the last 2 weeks. We went to the Nanango markets and Mark with his doggy dog. We actually went to see Lady Sings the Maroons. It was really good. Queensland Opera, came to Kingaroy. We went out for dinner, the 4 of us, which was fun. We do have an ongoing problem, of course, with birds and 2 of our peaches, but I'll show you later. Then Charlotte and I went out for a coffee one day, and then Mark and I went to the Nanango 175th anniversary celebrations. It was a great day. So,
what you doing?
Well, we had irises last year for Charlotte, but we've somehow or other managed to misplace the bulbs. So we went and bought another bag today, and I'm actually doing Charlotte's 2 pots of irises.
That one probably needs some dirt in it.
I
don't know they'll grow so good in the empty pot.
The other thing I'm going to be doing this afternoon is...
Shock!
We've bought a white hydrangea. Now, of course, knowing that the colour of the hydrangea is actually based on the quality of the soil and the pH levels. But anyway,
revelation. Gasp!
We got this one half price for $15. So I'm actually going to repot it into this big grey pot that I'm going to empty out. It's got bits and pieces in it at the moment.
With some soil in it too.
Yes, it will have soil. And then Mark has got a job to do.
Does he?
Yeah, off you go.
We don't want to look at our messy table. Poor Nathan just ended up on TV.
Oh, he's been on TV before. What did you buy?
Plants. Pond plants. For our pond. They're going to fill up with water again.
But we also bought some big pots so that they won't be quite so low into the water. And we actually also have some drainage gravel, which is...
Ooh, hold
camera. Oh, there.
There. We knew that.
Yep. So we'll be putting that at the bottom of the pot as well. Okay. So very quick. Oh, and the other thing, I have to replace my hose gun because it fell apart. So I bought some really good ones this time. So here's hoping they hang in. Okay. All right. So here we are. That one there is a Hygrophila difformis water wisteria.
It's very pot bound.
It is incredibly pot bound. So what we've done is we've put a layer of gravel in the base to help with drainage. Then we're using a garden soil, not an ordinary potting mix.
No silt or clay.
Yep, so it's hopefully the right one.
Put him in the pond.
Now, the description for these is, if I can get the sticky labels off, these were another one of our big steals for the day. So down from $25.95 to $12 each. So, yay us. So it's supposed to grow to 15 centimetres high. The depth is 2 centimetres above the rim of the pot. It's an oxygenator.
So that almost sounds like it should be underwater, doesn't it? The way it reads. It wasn't in the shop, but yeah.
Well, we can
just look it up.
Do a very quick look. It's a marginal or bog plant. And these ones help with maintaining the water clarity and reducing the proliferation of green algae. Particularly good in a pond where you have fish. Now, we did have fish in the pond, but they died very quickly. They ran out of oxygen. We have a little pond filter, but obviously it's not big enough to cope with the amount of water that we had in there, and so we lost all our fish in the first week or two.
Oh, yeah. That's
So,
nice.
all right, we're also putting a layer of gravel on top so that the soil doesn't float away, which is also, I think maybe it's a bit full, but anyway, so
Want them to grow.
yes, we do want them to grow. So, oops. These ones are supposed to be spreaders, so that's our hope.
Probably a better one than this anyway.
This is what you do on a Sunday afternoon when you're running out of time and it's getting dark. And
been at the meetings all day.
Yes, we've been off doing
Other stuff.
Other things that aren't garden related. So actually, it's been a weekend of it. We
And then goes 175th celebration just today, which were good.
excuse me, but what it did mean is that we've just run out of time to do all the bits and pieces we want to do, so we're trying to whack everything in. The Daniel Morecambe rose is now in the ground, and if you don't know about Daniel Morecambe, what I'll do is I'll add a link to the bottom of the screen for you so you can go and read about it. Okay,
done.
So you have a second one to do.
Yep.
And here we go.
I'll do him in a tick.
Oh, yep. And he is, oops, there, that's Mark. This one is an Aethyonoma Lebanese crest. So it says a fleshy greyish green fern like leaves. The herb adds a tangy flavour to your salad, so he's edible. He grows to 15 centimetres high, and he's also an oxygenator.
At the moment, a flesh eater.
Well, good morning. It's Monday. Sorry, I look a bit bedraggled. Today I have a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about. First thing was we went and picked some turnips yesterday, which I've just topped and tailed. I'm going to pop those in the fridge. But if you're like me, one of the banes of your life is people putting scissors in the dishwasher. So I went to pull these out today and look at that. The handles come off. Sorry, I had to pick it up off the floor. It's broken. So that's another pair of scissors to throw into the bin, which is really frustrating. The other thing I'm doing today is I'm actually making jams. I'm making a raspberry jam. Now, you know we have raspberries in the garden. Unfortunately, our harvest this year really wasn't sufficient to do what we needed, so I had to bite the bullet and buy a bag of frozen raspberries. But I am actually going to make the raspberry jam recipe out of my old handy dandy family circle book. I've had this one for years, as you can see. It's actually seen a bit of use, but this time I'm actually making raspberry jam. Normally it's strawberry, or I'm making like a pickled type thing, pickled onions or something like that. But now that we're settled at Stormhaven, I'm at the point where I can start making all our own jams and preserves. I did make marmalade way back when we first moved here, and I still have lots of that in the cupboard. I've also got lots and lots and lots of citrus peel, which is dried and powdered and what have you, to put into various recipes. But the raspberry jam is something, I love raspberry jam. It's my absolute all-time favourite. Now, you're probably going to ask me, you know, how does buying a bag of frozen raspberries fit in with partial self-sufficiency? It doesn't, sorry. But I'm kind of hopeful that next year we'll have all our own raspberries and I won't need to buy raspberries ever again. That's my plan. So I'm going to take you along on the journey as I make raspberry jam this morning. Okay, so I'm mostly set up. So here I am on my chopping board. I have my small scars. I don't need my big ones. They're actually in a cupboard. But they're really big and they weigh up to like 35 kilo, and I'm only measuring at most 850 grams. Do have a baking tray that I've actually lined with alfoil. And the reason I've done that is I've discovered over the years that jam sticks and it goes really hard. So rather than actually trying to scrub it off, and like, I don't know if you're like me, but I really like my baking trays. Most of them actually have the non-stick covering. So in order to protect that, I put the alfoil down and then I can just tear the alfoil off and throw it in the bin when I'm done. So I've got my raspberries, I've got 2 kilo of sugar, I have a bottle of lemon juice. Yes, I'm not using my lemon juice. The reason I'm not using my lemon juice is it's in the bottom of the outside freezer and I can't reach it. So I need to actually reorganize the outside freezer. But as with everything, it's a matter of having the time at the moment. So probably next weekend I'll get Mark to help me. We'll have to haul most of the meat out to get the containers. I've actually got frozen eggs out there too for baking, but I'm not baking today. So essentially I have 850 grams of frozen raspberries. I'll use 850 grams of sugar, and I will need probably 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I also need water. So I'll quickly read you the instructions. So it's place 2 plates in the freezer. We know that. That's to see if the jam is set. And then we need to put the berries and the lemon juice in a large pan, stir over a low heat for 10 minutes. And then we add the sugar and we stir without boiling for 5 minutes. And then we bring it to the boil for 20 minutes. I actually have my jars are in the dishwasher. I washed them overnight to make sure they were nice and clean and to get rid of any thing on them. I am kettle canning today. I'm not using the Falavicola. The bottles I've got are not Falavicola bottles. They're not safe to put in there. So I've actually decided to go with the old kettle canning method, which is literally where you put the jam into the jars and then you invert them with the lids on. Yes, I know it is not the world's best way of doing it, but because at the moment I don't have what I need for the Falavicola setup, I need to go and get new lids. I need to go and get new seals. Most of my jars haven't been washed in a long time. Putting them in the dishwasher is difficult because last night we had a roast dinner. So in terms of having the space, I've gone with this option instead. It's really a shame there's no such thing as smell-o-vision, because look at that, and I can tell you it smells lovely. And I can feel it thickening as I'm stirring. I've got to keep stirring so it doesn't burn on the bottom of the pot. But look at that lovely looking jam cooking away. I am using a metal spoon simply because my wood spoon is not good. And I have a little spatula, but it would melt in that. Okay, so here we are. Once it gets ready, you've got to move fast. And as you can see, this little one at the back here, he has already set. So as I said to you, I'm kettle canning, which basically means we're allowing the heat to go down into the lid. It will actually seal it. Now, I won't be touching these for another couple of hours. They'll sit there and then I'll wipe them off and I'll label them. I only used 4 of the 6 jars that I had. 2 of the jars I'll put back away, and then when I'm ready to use them next, I'll wash them again and go through the same process. So, but there we have it. So we have 3 1/3 jars of raspberry jam. That'll keep us going for a little while. Hello. I got control of the camera this time, so there's no earthquakes, there's no bouncing. Well, we've had a busy fortnight. You've seen the roses, you've seen the bulbs, you've seen all the little trips we've done. The raspberry jam is in the pantry, so I'm looking forward to tasting that.
Didn't quite get the mowing done.
No.
Ran out of time.
But there's only so many hours in the day, and as you saw, we do a lot. The roses are going really well. We'll bring you an update as they have a bit of time in the garden. But we're actually going to keep this really short. We're going to leave it at that for the fortnight. We hope you've enjoyed the episode. We do like to hear from you. So if you've got suggestions or ideas, please have a chat, leave us a message. While we're at it, please subscribe and like the channel. It does help us to be found on YouTube.
Very true. And if anyone knows anything about ponds, all ears.
Yeah.
Because we're getting our pond ready.
We are indeed, and we'll bring you some more updates on that soon. But for now, that's me.
All right, bye.
See ya.